Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, a place where Milts can connect to one another to inspire, motivate, and collaborate to continue to build a strong and well-connected alumni association. I believe that Milton Hershey School rebranding is actually just getting started, and I want to be part of that journey. I think the best way to commemorate Milton and Catherine Hershey is to continue our own legacy that impacts the world as Milton Hershey so impacted us. I believe the level of extraordinary that each and every Milt carries within them is deeply underestimated, and this podcast will help in the journey to show off what Milts are really made of. I'm excited to get to know more Milts, more insight to their upbringing, and what they're doing now to build their legacy and bring value to others, and what being a Milt really means to them. Today I'm speaking with Victor Emerson Dougba, class of 2004. Victor is a brand development specialist who owns and operates Awoke Media, a content production multimedia company that has produced marketing campaigns and sales programming for State Farm, Scotties Facial Tissues, Heineken, Lit Bar, and recently Anheuser-Busch, amongst others. Victor has an extensive background in the music industry and has directed over 87 music videos and has managed and advised a number of recording artists. In addition, Dougba has served as an adjunct professor. Wow, and wow. Welcome to the Milt Talk Legacy Builders podcast, Victor. Thank you so much for being my guest.
Yes, my pleasure.
Yeah, that's a really great bio. I'm so excited to get into this. So the first thing I want to find out is, how old were you when you got to MHS?
I was 8 years old.
Oh, wow. So you were so young too.
Yes, I was 8.
What is your age?
My brother was 6. I was 8.
Oh, wow. Okay. What grade was that? Was that like 4th or 5th?
It was third grade.
Third grade.
Third grade. Okay. It was August 1994. Student home Perry, and that's when we had mixed student home, boys and girls.
Oh so my God. Okay.
I'm that old.
Yeah, you're only the second person I've talked to that was in a student home like that.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, so how was your experience when you first got in? Of course, it was culture shock at a young age. You know, how do you remember it?
I just remember smelling chocolate in the air, and then in the morning you smelled poop. Yeah. That's my first memory. Just poop and chocolate.
That's hilarious.
Just poop and chocolate everywhere.
Not like chocolate because it reminds you of poop. Did they correlate?
Yeah. So yeah, but that was the first memory. I think that and the cow, the milk machine. That was one. I was like, what is that?
Right.
So those three things.
Funny machine. Yeah, this is like endless milk and juice.
I almost bought one a couple years ago. Don't judge me.
Honestly, they're very economical. They're actually, and especially if you have a big family and you guys drink a lot.
Yeah.
They're actually really, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, man, definitely.
Funny that it even kept it cold. Like
we just sneak
like a refrigerator.
We just sneak out and like get big amounts of juice. It was ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
I missed that thing. Yeah.
So you end up doing sports?
Yeah. So I played early. I played all the sports early. I played soccer, baseball, but as I got older, became more about football, basketball, and a little bit of track, but mostly football, basketball were my main thing, especially football. Yeah.
Nice. And then when you graduated, did you decide to go to college?
I had no choice. I'm African. I did after high school. You know how they say after the power gets the after party?
Yeah.
Well, college was the after party, and yeah, so I went to college. Yes.
Okay. Where'd you go?
I went to Rider University. Well, I started off at community college. I went to Middlesex County College. Uh-huh. Then I eventually transferred to Rider University. Okay. And then I got my master's degree from the New York Institute of Technology.
Nice.
And the funny story is I used to be ashamed that I went to community college first, but the funny thing about it is I eventually, when I was like 26, 27, had an opportunity to teach there.
Oh, how awesome.
As a professor, and that started my teaching push. So it was funny because I used to be embarrassed to even go there, but then I got my first opportunity there. So it's funny how life works like that.
Right.
Crazy.
Right. The humbleness gets you, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely does. Definitely does.
An opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So yeah, I saw that in your bio. So you were an adjunct professor. What did you teach?
I taught African American film and I taught business marketing. So basically, I started off teaching evening courses for adults. There were adult courses first. They'll try me out to see if I can actually teach. I didn't know if I could teach. I knew I could talk.
Yeah.
So I talked, and then I talked and talked and talked. And then next thing you know, I'm a professor. I'm like, well, I talked myself into being a professor. So I went on teaching a couple more courses, and I got real good at it. I actually liked it a lot. I actually felt very good to just have a conversation. You know, that's what teaching felt like, having a conversation and people being there actually listening because they're paying to be there.
Right.
So it was good to actually speak and be heard. So that was a great experience. I actually took a break from it, actually working back to trying to do it now. But as the pandemic has shifted, I'm trying to get back into that as well. So that's the next move again, back to that. But I really enjoy teaching.
Nice. Yeah. You know what? I have an echo. I don't know what's going on. Is it still doing it? No. Okay.
I don't hear it.
You don't hear it? Okay. I thought it was happening a couple of times. Okay. I want to make sure we don't have a bad connection, so then it doesn't, I don't miss when you're talking, but it seems fine now. I'll edit stuff out too. So flow. Okay, cool. So wow. So you were doing professor stuff. When did you decide I want to kind of do a business of my own, like Awoke Media? When did Awoke Media start?
Ooh, well, officially like 2015. So it was right around the time I was teaching and stuff. But it started 2015, but the idea, the concept, and the work was done long before that. It was done at Milt Hershey. You know, it started from working with Mrs. Gert, like in 2001, in the video editing room with Sergio Orozco and Slam Leshinoy, two of my buddies. You know, they're still out here doing active videography work and doing great production work. So it started from the Milt, man, honestly, man. And then it went on to, you know, college. I started doing a lot of music videos just for money to keep in my pocket, you know, and I got real good at it. I'm like, man, next thing you know, they're over 80 something of them. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Then you get burnt out, you want a new challenge. And then I start reaching out to businesses, and then people start reaching out to meet them. Became the whole word of mouth thing. You know, the power of your network and word of mouth and people doing great work and delivering a top-notch level service and taking pride in that. I think people see that and feel that, and they always come back. You know, when you do a great job and you have a great attitude, people tend to always come back. So a lot of my work is based on word of mouth, relationships, literally going out there and knocking it out. And the Awoke Media came about because people kept asking me, hey man, just go out there and do it. And I'm like, man, really? Then started rolling, man. So it went from videography, photography to brand development, to brand consultant, to the point where honestly, I don't really even hold the camera anymore. You know, I have a whole network of team up and down the East Coast that I work with and do contracts with. So it's definitely shifted from holding the camera in the hot sun. So it's definitely shifted.
That is great. So your creativity started at a pretty young age.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You always knew you wanted to get into some sort of like video photography thing?
Music was the first one. I wanted to be Puff Daddy. Okay, that's the truth. I wanted to be Diddy. I had a record label at like 9 years old. Had like people in my studio home performing. Had like contracts and stuff. So I really wanted to be in the music industry. But once you love music, you love everything around it. So I started loving music videos. So I'm like, man, it's cool, man. These videos. You see that video? And you know, at Milt Hershey, we didn't have, you know, BET and stuff at that time. And so we had like make tapes and come back and watch them or go home and binge watch music videos and stuff. So I got intrigued by music videos. So I started really wanting to be a music video director. So that pivoted once again into that, then everything else kind of connected.
Wow, that's cool. You did your studies. What did you study in particular?
Oh, communications. I got a bachelor in arts communications and a master in arts media management.
Wow.
So, and the master's thing, I don't even know how that happened, man. Because I even look back, I'm like, how did I end up in grad school? I'm sitting in New York, I'm in this classroom, I'm like, yo, the kid who was in community college, like, how did he end up here? And I'm like, man, if you just focus and do stuff, man, you'd be surprised if you just literally just say you could do what you set out to do, you'd be surprised where you end up. And that was a humbling, but also a reminder to me, man, you can really do whatever you want if you really want it. You know, even in grad school, I graduated top of my class. And I was like, man, what was I doing in high school? Why didn't I have this same energy?
Yeah, is that funny?
Yeah.
Funny because once you find your passion and what you really love, it doesn't even seem like work anymore. Yeah.
Listen, my attitude was totally different. I was like, I can't fail. I sat in the front of the class. I was like locked in.
Wow.
And I see the difference because, you know, in college and stuff and high school, you have a lot of distractions.
Yeah.
But I was in my early mid-20s, I ain't really, I was just, it was just me. So I was able to get it done. But the lessons were learned though mostly outside the classroom for me, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's true in most people. There's so much that you can learn in school and in the school environment than when you really get out there and real world making it happen. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. So what give me like 2 of your favorite music videos that people will know.
Probably Notorious B.I.G. More Money, More Problems.
Okay, yeah.
I love that.
About that video.
When they're flying in the air with the goggles and stuff, I thought that was a great video. And Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands on My Ocracy. For multiple reasons, because it is beautiful. And also, the Coming to America references in it, and the dancing so those are my 2 videos. And once again, I'm dating myself, but
yeah,
you understand though. You know what
okay. I would understand. Yeah. Right there with you. But Busta Rhymes he's always made really phenomenal videos before, before they're like the norm now.
Yes.
Cool abstract stuff is like the norm now. But back then I was like, damn, he's really abstract. He's really different.
Him and Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott as well. Both of them are like, yin and yang right there. Yeah.
Creative. Yeah, I like that. Because I like videos like that too, that are super creative and abstract. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So what, give me a couple of videos that you directed. Shout a couple of those out.
Not on that level.
That you film.
But
even if people
you could look up, I'm trying to think the most recent one. You could check out Co-Star Poor Motion. Okay. That's a good one. What's a recent good one? I haven't done music videos in like 6 years. Yeah, it's been a minute. Let me get back with you on that.
Yeah.
Because some of them I don't want to direct, and then you see some crazy stuff. So we'll get back to that.
Especially from 6 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Person 6 years ago.
Yeah, man.
So what got you? So once you graduated with your grad school and you were doing the adjunct professor and you started Awoke Media, walk me through the process of doing like the marketing campaigns and sales programming for like State Farm and Scotties and those companies. How does that work?
Okay. So State Farm, a lot of these roles started for me. I worked for a promotion and marketing company on the side. So they would have these events. I would set them up, talk to people, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Then I was like, man, how do I get on the other side? Because some of y'all marketing programming is whack. This is not even culturally appropriate. It would be like, this doesn't even make sense. So the more and more events I did, I started asking questions. Then they gave me opportunity. And the first one was State Farm. That's some balloon festival in the middle of like this random part of New Jersey. So I had to pack up this van, do all this stuff, but then I enjoyed putting together the programming for it. And that they were giving out like some card, something to get people to sign for State Farm auto insurance stuff. And I created a concept where like, you sign up for it, you get access to like, I don't know, it was like free music or something like that. And they got it approved. And I got like 300 people to sign that day. They were like, wow, that's the biggest, how do you do that? I'm like, man, all I did was, talk to them, engage with them and offer them something. Talk to them, engage with them, offer something. And that's of value to them. People want outcomes by offering anybody anything. And the first thing you need to do, because especially in sales and marketing, people want to know what they're getting. They don't have time to do research like nerds like me do. Like, they want to know what they're getting up front. And I think when you lead with that, and then the product, I think that's a beautiful marriage. And I think those things work together very well. So it started like that, and then it gets spiraled. And then I got offered more assignments. I started doing stuff. With Beam Suntory. I was working with 50 Cent when he started Effing Vodka a couple of years back, and I was able to help them do programming and line up a lot of the dates and stuff. People go and visit these stores and different locations. So that's how I got it. I actually did the actual grunt work of being out there, and doing that, you start seeing the real market responses instead of just sitting behind a computer looking at Excel sheets all day. I saw from the ground up. So I was like, let me make more money. Let me go teach too. So I was balancing both, and it was fun, but it was also, I learned a lot.
Yeah. And how awesome that you were out there doing the heavy duty work and right there with the audience, interacting with them, engaging, seeing what they want, so that you can take that information and teach it. to other people. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
really good. Yeah. And talk about giving back. Like you're doing all that legwork, but it's gaining you all this authentic knowledge, you know, in the field.
And it wasn't always the most like, you know, you're in conversation, if you're like, man, you know, I work for this company and and I'm like, yeah, man, you know, last week at Balloon Fest, I was getting people like, what are you talking about? Or last week I did the music video, like, yeah, whatever, man.
Right.
But there was those times that reminded me, you know, everybody's journey's different. You know, everybody's path is different. Some people have easy, some people get there in their early 20s, some people get there in their 50s.
Right.
You know, and you just gotta be careful and don't get nosy-eyed looking at somebody else's lane. Look at yours, focus on your path in front of you. Yeah. You know, I look at like the Michael Jackson Beat It video. Was it Beat It? No, it was Billie Jean. Okay. I look at a path like Billie Jean. You walk and the path lights up. Yeah. That's how I look at life, and that's how I look at paths. And I think if more people focus on what's in front of them instead of what's beside them, they would get exactly where they need to go. Yeah, that's so true. I think a while back I saw a meme of that swimmer, that Olympic swimmer. I forget his name, but it was him. He was in a race with another guy, and it took a perfect shot of like the other guy looking. Yes. Where Phelps, that's his name. He was like looking at where Phelps was at. And Phelps was like, you can't look at your opponent because that's what's going to slow you down. And the other day, my daughter and Chris were racing, and of course, he never lets her win. She's on her scooter and he's running. And at the very end, they were so close. And at the very end, she went to look to where he's at because she wanted to beat him. And it caused her to fall because she wasn't looking where she was. And she starts crying. And, you know, we pick her up and dust her off. And I told her, like, Tamina, never look at your opponent. You never look at what someone else is doing. Always look at the goal, where you're going. Yes. I could tell she got it because, like, the very next race they had, she didn't look at him. She was just didn't look at all. Yeah.
It's so true. And in life, that's how it is. You got to have, it's good to see, you know, your competition, what they're doing. You're always learning, but never comparing. Because like you said, you're on your own journey.
Never, you know, and that was my thing. Even when I played sports in high school, I hated looking at the newspaper, like the sport columns, like of the other teams. You know, I had other teammates who did it, but me, I'm like, other guys good, but I'm good too. Right. That was my mentality. But you know, it's good to study and, you know, look at stuff. But that was just always been like, hey man, just focus on what you got in front of you. Exactly.
Yeah. Just always keep trying to beat your last record. That's what I always try to do. Like, it's hard, you know, especially when you're a competitive person, you have like that natural comparative, oh, I want to beat that person or whatever. But then I always try to go back and like, I just want to beat who I was yesterday. And
yeah,
that'll be.
Listen, and that's a real key point. I'm very competitive, and it's almost like you have to understand levels of being competitive or being toxic to yourself. You're like, everybody has a different timeline, and I had to learn that so many times. Like, hey man, just because that person's doing that, that's what they're doing. And you start seeing a lot of people, even if they get it first, if they get it too young or too fast, they can't handle it.
Exactly.
And now we're seeing, you know, at the ages we're at, now we're seeing a lot of people, you know, start passing or going through different stuff because life just comes to you so fast. Sometimes you're not able to handle it. And I think I've been kind of blessed where it came to me kind of slower. Yeah. So I was able to take stuff in and really appreciate the moment. A lot of struggle, don't get it wrong. It wasn't always pretty, you know. Yeah. But it helped me able to take stuff in slowly and understand the meaning and importance of it.
Yeah. And so true. Yeah. I'm in finance, so I do financial planning, me and my husband. So we see that a lot. We see either, you know, people coming into a lot of money very quickly and they're not really sure what to do with it. So their natural inkling is to spend it, you know? Yeah. And then of course we see people who have learned that and now they're like have to dig themselves back out of the hole that they dug themselves into because your mind has to be able to handle the success that's coming. Yeah, you have 100%. To be able to level up to it. Lots of times, you know, that's why you see a lot of, you know, NFL people, NBA people, a lot of sports people, a lot of celebrities, rappers, anything. Yeah. Anyone, like you said, gets there too quickly and their mind hasn't really caught up. It's hard to know what to do with all that's coming in.
Yeah. Very hard.
Yeah, it is a blessing to know that you know, and God knows. God knows what you need and how you need
Yes.
it and all that.
Listen. He knows that I had to start community college because I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for on-campus living. I would have followed that up, and you would see a different guy right now. So I had to move back home, humble myself, get to know my parents again. Because when you have Hershey, you know your parents, but it ain't like when you move back and you're there, and you're there, and get to know them, and get to know New Jersey more, and get to meet all kinds of people. So those were the building blocks to where I'm headed now. So like you said, those things I needed. Like you said, God knows.
Yeah, it's so true. Yeah, because I was one of those who, as soon as I left Milton Energy, I'm like, I so had freedom and college, and even in college, I was in the dorm like 3 months, and I was like, I don't want a roommate ever again in life, and I just wanted it so fast. I definitely mentally was not, like you said, it could have been a much better experience had I been ready for all the stuff that I wanted so fast. Yeah.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And going to Mount Hershey, when you graduate, man, you think the world owes you something. You think like you step out here and boom, everything happened. I thought I was going to graduate. Def Jam gonna call me, or I was gonna be in this movie. I'm like, man, then you start realizing how big the world is. You're like, you know how many people are talented and gifted, and how many people out here actually been groomed to do this kind of thing. So you gotta play catch up on the reality of life. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. But as you get older, hopefully people start to see that. Like, life is interesting.
It's very true. Life is hard. It's actually, the more and more, the older that I get, and the more people that I'm around and that I mentor and that I help and that I just am friends with, and you have these deeper, more vulnerable conversations with people, you realize like we are all in this tough ass life together. Everyone is going through something or some things, where it's financial, marital, kids, depression, anxiety, pressure, just life is actually very, very hard. And having the right mindset to be able to be proactive with it and enjoy the process, because you can either learn to enjoy it, or it could be like a beat up session most of the time.
Listen, one of the hardest things I ever had to do was walk away from a job. And one of the hardest things I ever had to do was walk away from a job.
Yeah.
Because it was mentally, physically tasking. And hey, in the background, how you doing? But walking away from a job, and I always use this to tell people, man, if it's physically, mentally, spiritually draining you, what are you doing? You're killing yourself, like seriously. And it was hard because I'm like, man, the money's great and stuff like that. But I'm like, yo, am I even enjoying anything right now? I'm not even happy. I was not myself. And I'm like, man, one day I woke up and said, man, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And it was the most freeing. The first thing I did, I met up with them. I said, hey, man, I'm done, man. They're like, what, man? We'll give you more. I'm like, nah, man, I'm good. We'll give you this much more. I'm like, nah, man, I'm done. I got in my car. I drove home. I told my fiance. She looked at me. She said, good.
Yeah. Wow.
She was like, good. I want one. Can I get one?
I know. Aren't you so good?
She was like, good.
Yeah.
And then I took a shower, then I went back to sleep. And I felt great. I felt great. So
it is freeing. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And good that you had like the mindset and the strength to be like, you know what, this is not helping my mental well-being. I can't.
Listen,
most people live that out years and days. Yeah.
And I've seen great men and women burn out.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that enough, the burnout, and a lot of pressure gets put on us by our families and people. These are things supposed to make too much. I get it, but I always thought like it's not so all to be about money, it's to be about freedom.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that was a hard choice. This is years ago. And I was like, I felt guilty driving. I'm like, she's gonna hate me. She's gonna hate me. I quit a job. How we gonna live? And that actually helped me put Awoke Media into more motion because I have more time.
Yeah.
I had more time to focus on Awoke Media, and we crushed it that year because I had time and I was able to sleep more, ate better, I dropped like 30 some pounds. I was being more healthy, you know what I'm saying? Have more time, sleep, you know? And that goes full circle to your question earlier about Awoke Media. That's what kicked it up to high gear, you know? Wow. And now we're doing so many great things that I can't even believe some days. I'm like, yo, man, how did you get here, bro? How did you get into a new house? How did you get this? How did you do that? Now you have kids in a span like this short amount of time. I'm like, yo, but that's my timeline.
Right.
You know?
Right, exactly.
You know? Yeah.
So what is your day-to-day like? What do you do like day to day?
I mean, right now I'm on a contract with somebody right now. I'm doing some, you know, stuff with them. My day to day, man, honestly, man, I wake up around 7:30,
yeah.
8 a.m., you know, check emails. And then I hit the ground running, man. You know, I drive into the city, normally have like 3 or 4 meetings a day in the city. Just connecting with different opportunities for their brand and whatever, and just trying to find a good relationship between the two. You know, as far as Atlanta's real good because they have a good community of people who are influencers and stuff like that. But and they all know each other. That's the thing about a big city, but it still has a small city type of vibe because everybody knows everybody.
That's cool.
They may act like they don't, but they all know each other. And once you get in that network, you get a lot of stuff done. And that's why a lot of companies are moving to Atlanta. A lot of companies test run stuff in Atlanta because you get accurate, you know, information. You know, Atlanta's, you know, it's a pretty black city, as everybody knows, pretty black.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies come here to get accurate information about the market, and that's where I come in. You know, I ear to the street, but ear also up to the well-to-do, you know, African Americans who've done stuff as well. You know, it's not just catered to a one type of black person. it's a multitude of different types of black people and other people as well. You know, so a large Mexican community out here as well, white as well, and so you get to see, you know, a mixture of cultures, but you also get accurate responses from the culture instead of just being spoon-fed, you know, the same things over and over again.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is usually like the late information. Like by then, there are new statistics that are out there that need to be. And that's what I love about what you're doing. It's almost like you are like getting the pulse of the culture of the marketing.
Yes.
Right there, because you're right there in it, seeing, like you said, the responses. And
man.
That's awesome.
And it's been crazy because it's like you think you know, living up north, yeah, I'm black, I grew up, whatever, then you move down to the south where it's different, where it's a more southern culture. Then you start learning there's different types of people, different mindsets. So, when I came down here, to be honest with you, I was caught off guard. I'm like, I'm pretty cool, I hang out in Philly, I hang out here, I've been in Harlem, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, man, it was totally different. And I learned so much about myself, so much about my culture. And first thing I said when I came down here, I said, man, first thing I'm gonna do, man, I'm gonna be immersed in the culture.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the flea market. I'm gonna go to places where the farmer's market. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to this concert. I'm gonna go here. And I started seeing the culture. I'm like, man, this is what these companies get all the culture from.
Right.
From music to art. Most films are filmed in Atlanta.
Yeah, wow.
And even Coming to America was filmed here. Freaking Black Panther was filmed here. A whole bunch of stuff. Shaft, a whole bunch of stuff filmed. Even Walking Dead. A whole bunch of shows filmed out here. And it's like, you don't get enough credit for it, but you start seeing where the culture plays a part.
Yeah. Didn't Tyler Creator start his company out in Atlanta?
He always had a company, but he bought an old Confederate naval base. Okay. So basically, he owns like a small town. He turned into like a set.
Wow.
So all his movies and TV shows are filmed in one set. I've been there a couple of times. It's pretty cool. And it's pretty cool, man. So it's crazy what he did over there because they're real houses, but they're like set design houses. And it's like, man, he built a whole White House.
Yeah.
Like a replica White House. I was like, what the heck is
So pretty much because I kind of understand like the film industry as when it comes to like renting studio time or like settings, and that's pretty much like what he did. Like he has his own huge ass studio. Like in Hollywood, they have their studio areas that I've been to. But like that's what he did. He pretty much created like his own big, huge set. Like you said, it's the set, and people rent it. Like you want to go do your stuff there, you got to rent all of those, the place, the props, all of that.
And that's the right mentality to have, man. You know, even he's like, you know, I'm not gonna wait for Hollywood to accept me. You know, I'm gonna make my own Hollywood. I don't need, and that's what a lot of people need to adopt the mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if more people, and I know it's hard to start a studio, but he started from his own work doing plays and turned to movies and turned to studio. And if more people thought that way instead of always relying on others that comes, you know, nobody's coming to save you, man. You know, like I said to my friend, ain't nobody coming to save you, dog. You know what I'm saying? you gotta find a way and connect with people, man. You know, and you know, brotherhood, sisterhood, you know, meeting up with people who are like-minded or want to learn from you, can never hurt. You know, even if they don't know as much as you, they may know something you may not know. You know, the moment you think you stop learning is the moment you fail. And I think you got to work along with people. And I think that's what we need to work on more, I think, as Mel Hershey family, is working with each other positively and in ways where we could all get stuff done and also practice brotherhood and sisterhood.
Yeah, exactly right. Right there on the head. And we had alluded to it earlier when we talked about the power of networking. And the whole reason, one of the main reasons I started the podcast is, one, to rebrand Milts, because I'm tired of people seeing us as just poverty kids who went to a school for so past that stigma or that brand that we were given. So I want to rebrand it as like, we are powerful, extraordinary people who are out there building legacies of our own. And two, if you look at like sororities and fraternities, like big time sororities and fraternities that are huge, they make serious money, they really know how to network with each other, get each other places in front of the right people. That could be MHS Alumni Association. Like that is exactly the mentality that we should adapt and have. It shouldn't just be, oh, we're alumni and, you know, there's a small little association, we always give back to the school and stuff like that. It needs to be like, we are a fraternity, we are a huge sorority, we benefit each other, we network, we put each other in the right places. Like that's the power of collaboration and network. And we have it. Like, we have the extraordinary people, we have the deep connection. It's an instant trust, an instant connection, you know?
You're doing legwork though, and that's why I like what you're doing, because, you know, I've been asked to do stuff before, and I kind of was like, But the reason why I say, you know, mainly because, you know, you and I were always cool. But also, I like the fact you're providing something, a platform for people to be heard. And I think a lot of people, I'm not saying nobody in particular, so anybody listening, don't think I'm taking shots at you, I'm not. But you came with the hand up, but not an open hand. You weren't like, give me, you're like, Victor, let's talk. Like, let's talk. And I think for us to stronger community and alumni associate, us people with resources, let's provide, let's help people. But also, when people receive help, also at some point gonna have to provide help as well to somebody else. One hand beats the other hand. So I think if we approach with that mindset, I think it'll be a smoother transition to rebrand like you're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm a big believer in just wherever you go, try to provide value. Like, even if it's something so small, like a little piece of advice or a Bible verse to someone who needs it.
Or food.
Yeah, anything. A meal. Take value wherever you go. And then eventually stuff like that compounds over time. And then everything that you've ever dreamt of or need will start to come back to you because of like the seeds. I really strongly believe in that. Like, everywhere I go, I just want people to hopefully get something from it and, you know, be able to grow. And
100%.
From this, I hope other Milts see, you know, their friends, they see another Milt doing something and they get inspired. That's my main hope, is inspiration, motivation for more Milts to get out there and like take a risk on yourself. You can do it. You know, we have what it takes. We are very resilient, you know, powerful, you know, congenial people. We have a lot of diversity. We've learned a lot from Milton Hershey. So we have all the tools and resources we need, personality wise too, to
100%
and make it happen. Yeah. More entrepreneurial Milts than I ever thought, you know?
Listen, and the world is forced a lot of us to become this way. And because, as you know, like I said, going to college, I could have hung my hat up a long time ago, still been working for that company, could have just mailed it in, you know, but the world forced you, man. And it's like, I told you, a lot of education I got was outside of the classroom. The classroom was just like, you know, it happened. I'd be like, it happened, but I learned how to construct contracts from somebody screwing me over. You know what I'm saying? I learned who to talk to after somebody stole from me, you know, or you learn those hard lessons through hard times. So you got to just bravely face the world, because if you don't face it, you're not going to learn nothing. You're not going to grow, and you can't be afraid to fail. Yeah. Because, you know, failure is only temporary, man, you know, and you can't be afraid. Milt Hershey himself failed so many times. How many of us would have stopped? Okay, man, this chocolate thing ain't working. Let me go make boats or something, you know, but he kept he kept pushing. And I think we need to adopt that mentality, because life comes to you, you know, it comes to you fast, but it's also a gift to still be here and still be able to dream and live and grow.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. Talking about growth, I can 100% tell that you've done a lot of self-development, a lot of self-care. You have a lot of great mindset things that I can see. So what kind of self-development have you done over the years, and how often?
Every day, man. Yeah. Some days I'm better than others. You know, some days, you know, I'm a Pisces, so I'm a little moody sometimes, but it's a lot of those, like, surprisingly, a lot of like those like self-help gurus, playing them in the car. Like Les Brown's my favorite, old school, OG of this thing. Yeah. Tim Robbins, you know, listen to stuff like that. And I always thought stuff was corny when I was a kid. Like, who wants to hear Zeke Ziegler? My house parents be playing Zeke Ziegler. I'd be like, what is this mess? This is so corny. My house father loves Zeke Ziegler. He loved that stuff. He always played like, I always ignored it. I'm like, this is garbage. Play some music. Yeah. But as I got older, I was just on the computer. This is like a decade ago. I'm like, fresh out of college. I'm like, man, I need some more words outside of church as well. You know, on the church and stuff, but like, I needed more. Yeah. And then I started listening to Les Brown. I'm like, man, I started feeling better. Yeah. Started working out, started eating better. And that kind of stuff, it sticks in your mind. And every day I remind myself, man, say hi to at least 5 people you don't know.
Wow, that's great.
You don't know if that changes their day or not. Yeah. Acknowledge people, you know, hug the babies. That makes me feel good. You hug the babies, you know, you come home, little boy around to you, dang, you're like, ah. And I be, you know, someday you come through that door, you're like, man. But soon you see their face. So a lot of time with family, man, making sure on certain days I just turn off the phone. Yeah. Just unplugging, man. Telling people no. That was a hard part for me. No is powerful. No is the most powerful word. Yes. Around, like, no, I don't want. But why don't you? I don't want to. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was one of my issues too. I used to try to please everybody. I was like, you know, I can help this person. I'm like, who's helping me, man? I'm like, no, I don't want to. You know, and that's been the main thing I've been working on over the last couple of years, is really just making time and crafting time for rest, for meditation, for prayer, to call people that I haven't spoken to in a while, letting people know I love them, especially at this pandemic, man. I told so many people I love them last year and this year. I'm like, I love you, man. They're like, what's going on? Like, I love you, man. And they don't know how to even receive it. They're like, what the heck? You love me. I called my house parents I haven't spoken to in like 15 years. I called him out the blue, found his number in the newspaper. I found out, you know, he had a heart attack. Wow. And that woke me up. I'm like, I haven't spoken to guy. All this is going on. We spoke. He was so proud to speak with me. Yeah. I'm like, man, we don't know what's going on with people sometimes. Yeah. What would it take years to reach out instead of just staring at the page online? You know, I'm guilty of it too. I ain't just talking about I'm high and mighty, but take time to reach out to somebody. Hey, you good, man? What's up, man? And not want nothing. Just check on them. Just be like, hey, man, you good? You all right? That's it. You know, and you don't know how much that'll change their day. So that's my self-care method. Just, and a lot of sleep, man. A lot of sleep, a lot of water. I drink a lot of water.
Oh, good for you. That's the thing I don't do that I definitely need to do more is drink water. It's awful. And I want to teach that to my daughter. So she should be a water drinker. Yeah. I'm like I don't drink juice or soda or anything either. Yeah. I'll have orange juice, but I'm a coffee person, beer or wine.
Yeah. No. Hey, man, listen, I've beer. I recently started liking those seltzers.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
I love sparkling water. Yes.
Yes. I love seltzer water and sparkling seltzer. I mean, those are my things, man. And but the self-care thing is so major, man. I wish.
Major.
And maybe my memory's just serving me wrong. Did we have a lot of self-care stuff in Mount Hershey? Was there a lot of that?
You know,
might have, because I didn't pay attention sometimes. I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't. Yeah, I was zoned out.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I took advantage of the resources they had. but I also don't think that they were very compatible. Like, I know we all had problems going in, lots of trauma. So I know in my younger time, you know, the school saw that I had lots of trauma, so they tried to get me in counseling.
Yeah.
Then my therapist was like an 80-year-old white man. And I'm like, we can't connect. Like, you're not going to understand anything I'm going to tell you. Like, there was zero relatability, zero compatibility. So it really wasn't, you know, helpful, I would say. I think now they are listening more. I think the president definitely has his ear to the ground, so he's listening more of what
definitely
kids need, the new culture. So they've done a lot of those changes. But I'd say back then, yeah, I don't think, even in general, I would say self-care was never even a thing until last few years that people are making self-care a trend, you know?
Listen, that self-care thing.
I heard of self-care when I was a teenager, you know? My mom never talked about it.
And once again, I'm African. They don't want to.
They're like,
self-care. Like, what do you? You're selfish. What do you? Self-care. You're selfish. So it's and that's the old man I heard you too, because I went there in '94, and I remember a lot of the furniture from there at the time was from the '80s and '90s still. So, and I remember the first time I got a haircut, it was old. It might have been your counselor, but it might have been the barber too, because same old white guy that was the barber in the basement of Memorial Hall, the original Memorial Hall before they knocked it down. This dude went to cut my hair. Listen to me. That thing was jack. I walked home looking crazy. My mom came up that week and she said he's not cutting hair ever again.
Ever, yeah.
It was bad, but like you said, they've done a really good job from far that I can see, and making adjustments to making stuff more culturally appropriate and more understanding. Because like I said, it's a lot of different cultures there. But I think in the beginning, early and while we were there, it was a lot of geared towards one side. And I think they took a deeper dive into identifying where it needed to fix. And I think they're doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think even technology plays a big role in that now. Like, I think all people have learned that Black people just aren't all Black. Like, it's not just, oh, they're Black, they're African American. Like, and even growing up, like, the people that I've talked to that were like African didn't even really know themselves. Like, oh, I'm a different. They felt it from like other Black people. Like, there was a difference there, you know, but then to themselves, they still didn't even understand their own culture, where they came from. So everything was just Black, you know? And now technology has like gotten us all more culturally advanced or less ignorant. And for Milton Hershey to see that and embrace it, thank God. Because they definitely couldn't continue the way they did with us, with these newer kids who have access to all this stuff. A
lot of changes have been made. And you know, you growing up Muslim. I think you probably see some of the changes too, because there was nothing.
They didn't even know what Muslim was, what Syria was.
They don't even know, like, even the whole like 9/11 thing, man. I can't even imagine like how you felt. I can't even, and now looking back, I'm like, I didn't even think about it back then. But now looking back, I'm like, how the house parents treat you, like how the other people treat you. And now it's like, it's automatic, like, hey man, make sure your friends are good. Make sure, you know, we're not being funny towards her, being, you know, people from different cultures. And I hope they're actively practicing that. But I think they are over there, man. I mean, different times, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Even when I was there, like I prayed 5 times a day. Like, I was very about Muslim. So a couple of house parents weren't like they didn't like downplay it, but they didn't really create an environment, encourage it either. I had a set of house parents that didn't encourage it, but they didn't allow like the other girls to come down the hall and make noise and stuff like that when I was praying, which was very nice and thoughtful. But mostly it was just people didn't understand it and just thought it was weird as hell. I thought it was a little weird. It was embarrassing doing it, but I had like a, you know that, like, I think growing up Muslim, I always had like that, I I have to do this, otherwise I might go to hell,
Like, that's the main thing. I don't want to go to hell.
Yeah, it's like a lot of fear. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like a lot of extra fear, OCD. Like it was a ritual. When I didn't do my 5 daily practice, it was hard to sleep,
And then you graduate, and you said you graduate into the real world. This might be hell.
Yeah, exactly. It was a lot of shift changes. But even during 9/11, I definitely didn't get any like hate or anything from other students or anything from Hershey. But when I worked at KFC, like senior year or something, I worked at KFC, and I do remember there was a white lady who had come in, and I think I was in the back, like I was making the sandwiches, wrapping, blah blah blah. And I just remember her telling the manager, like, have someone else make my food. I don't want that, whatever she called me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like the only thing I remember at that age. Yeah, and I was like, how does she even know I'm Arab? Like,
they be knowing.
Probably saw the name tag and was like, but that was the only experience. Yeah.
Listen, I don't even want to open that Pandora box. I have quite a few experiences, but we're trying to be positive, legacy building. You see me in person, you can ask me, but we're gonna keep it,
Yeah.
But a lot of experiences.
One thing I talked with Joe Hadagwa I did another interview with him before, and he talked about it a lot actually, and that's something I don't think Milton Hershey knew how to help or even knew to help, and they maybe should have. And I hope that they've implemented something for the kids now.
Too.
Because you guys experience real racism.
Listen.
Like full blown. Yeah.
N-word
attacks, like
I'll give you one story. One story. We're like walking home from rec. It was like, when it gets dark early. We're walking home, and what's it called? 322, that highway? What's that highway called?
Yeah.
We're walking but finally this whole, like, nighttime, this truck drives by. Real slow, like, what's going on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh boy. Then they're like screaming that word.
Yeah.
And we're like, what? Did they say what we thought they said? And they screamed it again, start throwing stuff at us. And I'm like, what the?
Oh my gosh.
And we're so young and crazy. We start chasing the truck.
Yeah.
Obviously the truck, it just sped off, but we're like, ah!
Yeah.
But and this is in like 2002. This is, so in these house parents, I mean, those experiences, you can't even tell the house parents. And if you do, they're kind of like, well, that's sad, but go to bed and do your chore. But like, you don't understand that traumatized me.
Yeah, exactly.
Traumatizing. But then it's one thing to face that type of, obvious racism, but then coming out here dealing as a grown man, the covert racism. Yeah. That's a whole different level. That's when it becomes a whole ism, because you're stopping people from elevating and doing things. You can call me the N-word all day if you want. I don't care. That's your problem.
Right.
But when you're stopping my growth and affecting my family, then that's a whole different issue.
Exactly.
So seeing the differences and growing up in that and understanding that and experiencing that and talking about it with people of different cultures and them understanding that it had to affect a lot of us, especially in sports. People always make a joke about Mel Hershey can't win the big one, Melton Hershey. You don't know some of the crap he was going through with them referees and them players, egging our buses, going to towns called, these weird towns where there would be the one black kid, and it was always Jamal.
Yeah.
He played all the sports, but you come in a town, you feel it.
Yeah.
And going through that, hopefully my kids never have to go through that. But those experiences, they made me stronger. But at the same time, I didn't realize how much they played again and again in my mind. You can even see in my face now I'm getting mad again. But it's like it plays again and again in your mind. Like, man, it was so deep, man.
It is deep. Yeah. And that's what I remember. I don't remember them ever even talking about racism, like ever even being a topic. Hey, let's talk about it. Hey, are you guys experiencing it? Hey, if you guys do experience nothing. Yeah, nothing. And I really hope that that's changed and they are about it constantly. Yeah, because you guys, that is traumatizing.
It is.
At such a young age, you don't understand it. You're like, what the F,
Sometimes our coaches be like, hey, man, they're racist over there, man. Use that anger to win the game. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah,
I'm like, this is not Remember the Titans.
Yeah, exactly.
This is they can do something to us here.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's scary.
Playing with that fear, but I also understand, like, there are different types of people in the world. I'm not saying all white people are racist, whatever.
Yeah.
I met a lot of great amazing, white people. My whole life, I heard a lot of ones that really helped me. And I still life lessons. I could go down a whole list. So it's about, who we connect with, who we can learn from. I think a lot of people stay racist and stuff because they don't want to learn about other cultures. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And that was just some of the stuff. That's so many stories. If you could have and my stuff is mild compared to the guy that was there in the 70s and 80s. I can't imagine being the first black kid at Mount Hershey. That needs to be a movie.
Right.
Yeah. So it's I'm sure they're doing better because, like I said, I'm really close with Mr. Gerd and Mrs. Gerd, and they've always been very mindful of stuff. Miss Gerd, she used to tell me, I'm like, hey man, she would tell me the real deal. I don't want to go into the story, but she used to tell me the real deal. Mr. Gerd as well, so I'm pretty sure they're taking care of that.
Yeah, that's good. I always loved Miss Gerd too. It's so funny. Oh, yeah. So many people mention her. Yeah, she's made such a huge impact. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, because she was so nice and nurturing, but she was also very direct. Yeah. And I think that was refreshing to see an adult, because sometimes, everybody over there is doing their job. Some teachers just doing their job. She would go the extra mile and be like, hey man, you look tired today. Go over there and just chill. Like, don't touch nothing. Just, you look beat up. She would do the extra, and then, Mr. Girl would come every now and then, take us out, I just remember telling the Camp Pressure Mall, buy us pizza, talk to us and stuff. So those experiences gave me hope.
Yeah.
Gave me hope,
funny that we a lot of times you remember like the traumatizing and the bad stuff, and then all the time you're like, but then there was this one time I was like, man, I'll never forget that,
Yeah. And we also forget too, we were in a very, insulated environment, and I think we had a lot of good days too, man. We tend to forget them because we just think about the, the crazy stuff, but I had a lot of good days over there, man, where, just hanging out with my cats in my student home was cool,
Yeah, it's so true. So during this time of entrepreneurship, what do you think has been your biggest challenge?
Doing better with people. Because when I started, it was just me when I first started.
Yeah.
And just dealing with people, man. Parenting moment right there. Listen, don't feel bad. That would be me.
I'm like, let me stop.
Listen, one time I was on a Zoom call for work, and I'm like, my son runs in butt naked. Bust through the door, I forgot to lock the door. Like, ah! Then you see his mom running behind him. Come here! I'm like, oh my God! I blocked the camera. I'm like, this is crazy.
And all the parents back there are like, this is nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. But what's the question again? I'm sorry. I'm just totally.
What do you think has been your biggest challenge as an entrepreneur?
People. Dealing with different type of people, working along with people. I think sometimes they didn't deal with the whole racism thing. It's like when they see a black guy owning a business, they kind of act apprehensive. Even your own people sometimes are like, man, what big black guy? I don't know. I'm like, and that's the good part. Then I can flash the degree on them. Like, hey man, I did go to school. I know they're making this stuff up.
Right.
And then you run on the resume, and you have the risk of sounding arrogant. But the reason why, because you need to always prove yourself, and that part gets exhausting. I'm telling you, people take advantage of you, and not want to pay you on time, and that's why I learned the beauty of the middleman. Like sometimes I don't even talk to people. I'm like, you handle that because I'm not talking money with them. You're my assistant. You talk to them. Let's deal with that because it's exhausting. But also learn how to set your boundaries and stick to your guns. You might miss out on that big contract because the person's being funny. Don't do it. It's not all about the money. And before, when I was struggling, I would take jobs just for the money. I won't lie to you. I'm like, I need the money. I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
But then afterwards, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I'm like, what am I doing to myself?
Yeah.
So I started prioritizing, make sure it feels right, the vibes right, and the business is taken care of. That's the main part. Business is taken care of. And then we could be cool, man. But let's handle the business first. And then, if we become cool. But let's handle the business first. So draw this line between friendship, prejudice, and business. Just make sure you handle the business.
Yeah, and that's such a crucial thing to learn. I read a book that has always stuck with me, which is so good. It's called Crucial Conversations. And it is about like having conversations at high stakes, or learning how not to blur the lines of friendship and favors and
Oh
business
yeah.
and money. Yeah. And that's hard, especially you had talked about it earlier that, you're working on saying no.
Oh
And
yeah.
being a people pleaser was always a thing. And that's same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a people pleaser. I'm still learning how to say no and not feel guilty about it. And big time, especially in certain industries of business where you have to build a relationship and stuff. Those
Yes.
lines can easily be blurred, and people can expect
Yes.
more favors, and that's it's a good muscle to be able to build on.
Listen,
Yeah.
and I learned that from my barber one time. He was like, some guy like, can I get some money? He's like, no. He
Yeah.
said, why not? Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can say that and not explain yourself? Sometimes you just don't want to. Like, and that no thing is so powerful, man. I didn't realize it, but it's like, no is so powerful. No, I'm not doing nothing today.
Yeah.
You're allowed to say that. You're allowed to say that. I don't want to do nothing today. And that's fine.
Right. It is also very freeing. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Not have to feel obligated to something or someone. Yeah. It's absolutely right. Yeah, that's good. It's so funny that, what are we, in our 30s now? And we're just
Some people are gifted. They've been saying no since Mel Hershey. They were
right.
no.
I think a lot of that too is for me at least, it's a lot of it was tied to my self-worth. So
Yes.
low self-worth equals people pleasing, hard to say no, feeling obligated to do everything, spreading yourself thin for people. Yeah.
I always had a little bit of survivor's remorse. So if I was like good at something, I would dumb it down just so I wouldn't make nobody feel less than. Or like if I want something, I'd be like, it's nothing. But like dumbing down my accomplishments to make other people feel comfortable, but not realizing in doing that, you're missing out on inspiring people. Yeah. Me telling a story about community college, hopefully some kid, struggling like, damn, I'm going to community, man. I feel like, nah, man, go through that, do good and keep moving. And so not dumbing down your accomplishments, celebrating them while being a jerk, of course, but just, it's okay to celebrate your accomplishments. It's okay to buy yourself nice things if you can afford them. It's okay to go eat that lunch if you can afford it, and take that time to love yourself. That's back to the self-care. And I grew up with that guilt, man. I'm like, man, why I shouldn't buy those shoes, man. I'm like, and they're expensive, man. Talk yourself out of it. Like, man, next thing you know, I should have bought them, man. What's wrong with you? Love yourself. Yeah. So that survivor's remorse and that people-pleasing thing is definitely two things I work on, and I continually work on, because those two things have been, some things that probably held me back before, to be honest with you, being transparent.
Yeah. That is so good. That is such a powerful thing to be aware of, and then know, okay, this is something I definitely got to work on, because that's the mindset's not going to continue to benefit me. Yeah, that's really good. A lot of people don't even get that awareness. They just keep going through life with the same mindsets that aren't them, as opposed to growing them.
Some people, they think like, if I'm nice enough to that person, they can eventually be nice to me. No. Some people are just some people just don't like you.
Filter what you allow in.
Yes.
Exactly. That's good. It's about self-worth and self-growth, and seeing value in what you have, and not being able, knowing how to not dilute yourself.
Exactly. Listen, that's 100% right there. Yep.
Yeah, that's good. So during the time of the pandemic, have you had to pivot in any way your business or how you do business?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm under a contract now, so I had to take a long-term deal with a company, and just to make sure I was secure, just because I didn't know where stuff was going. So I'll be honest with you, I didn't really stop.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's not a problem, but I kind of just adjusted. Those first, because Atlanta was only closed for 3 weeks. So I was like, I could either sink or swim. So those 3 weeks where nobody went anywhere, I was in my house reading all this stuff, doing all this stuff. Like, everybody talking about crypto, talking about all this stuff. I'm like, all right, but what am I gonna do from the ground level, floor, physical, every day? So I started meeting with local grocery chains for this company, and meeting up and talking to them, different programming they could do during the pandemic, like mask giveaways. This is before giving away a mask was a thing. And started doing that, and started working with even C stores, convenience stores. started making sure that they were carrying masks. But then in Atlanta, they got creative in Atlanta. People started like doing like designer masks, real quick, like right. I saw Gucci masks. I'm like, who Gucci make masks? It was crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. So I became the bridge between those companies that were making masks and those convenience stores. So I pivoted. It wasn't the prettiest work, but I pivoted and it led me into more stuff. And I started doing stuff with to get a beer. Started doing stuff with Stella Artois. Rebranding Life Artois campaign through Atlanta. Got a lot of localized media footage for their campaign. Worked with them very, very close. And my stuff slowly started like opening back up for good out here. I just made sure I still kept having meetings, whether it was via Zoom or sometimes be outside in person, 6 feet apart, just yelling across the talking, but I made sure to stay active. So, and it also gave me time to really show people during those times that I cared.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of restaurants and bars lost out, and I would go visit them and talk, not even order nothing, just talk to them like, hey, what's going on? Like, you guys good?
Yeah.
And it was sad watching the city just dwindle like that. A lot of people losing their businesses, but it helped me pivot into learn how to show more empathy and understanding that aspect of my industry as well. Like, it's not just what you see on TV and stuff, it's the culture inside the community. So to answer your question, the way I pivoted through the whole thing was I got more back to grassroots, more back boots on the ground, more talking to people. Because honestly, man, this whole thing, man, it feels weird to even hug people now.
Yeah, big hands.
And shake hands. You're like, I don't know, should I?
Right.
You don't know what to do. So getting around people, safely, of course, but also making sure let them know you care and you're here to help. So I became more personable, but also more business personable. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's so good too, and shows like how much you truly care about the people and what's happening to them, that you would go and check on them. That's the kind of seeds that are planted. Come back to you later. Yeah.
Listen, and now honestly, I can ask them for anything. They're like, hey, what's up, man? Yeah. Because you care. And that's called paying it forward. A lot of people went to hermit mode. Nothing wrong with that. It was scary times. It was very scary, but I took it as a challenge. I took it as a challenge. Like, man, listen, man, it's been dark times before. Even more dark times in the future. So I could decide to, just sit here and just whatever, and drink wine and watch Netflix, which I love to do. Or I can just do that on the weekends and bust my ass during the week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man.
Great that you have that level of like checking yourself and accountability too. Entrepreneurship takes major self-accountability.
Yes.
I mean, it's unreal. Yeah. Yes. Self-motivation, accountability, just to be able to just make it happen every day, because otherwise the check won't come.
Listen, or what? Yeah, man.
Crazy. How did you come up with the name Awoke Media? Because that's a great name. It's also very tricky. It's a really great name.
So once again, like your husband says about like seeing stuff before.
Yeah.
So everybody's just woke now, woke.
Yeah.
This is before. This is long before.
Yeah.
And I always felt like people were sleeping on me. And I feel like once I got that awakening, I was like, now I'm awake. Now I'm gonna do this thing. So it became Awoke like that. I became Awoke. So I did a lot of the first project I did on there. What is that? What's going on? Oh. That beeping noise. See? Parenting moment. So Awoke Media came from me eventually. I felt like people were sleeping on me.
Yeah.
I was sleeping on myself. And I had this awakening. I'm like, man, I'm awake now. I'm awoke. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? So the first project I took about myself, I had a show called it was called Upstart. The show was called Upstart. It's a web series where I highlighted Black businesses. This is like 2016.
Yeah.
Before it became like every company doing it now. So I highlighted a whole bunch of them in New Jersey. It was going well.
I watched that. Yes.
Yeah. Then I moved down.
Oh, what you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that. It didn't. The numbers weren't crazy, but the whole plan was to create the shows. Yeah. Thank you. The whole plan was to create the show and then eventually get it to public access TV and get it running, just running. I'm still working on that, but I did 2 seasons of that. I moved to Atlanta, shot most of it. It's easy to shoot in Atlanta because there's millions of Black businesses. Yeah. But when the time I got to the 3rd season, the pandemic happened. Then I went back and watched the show. I want to say 70% of those businesses closed.
Oh, how sad. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in the middle of revamping that, but Awoke Media was basically started as a content creation company and it morphed into a brand development company as well.
Yeah, and it's forever evolving. You're forever going to be evolving yourself and your business and everything about it, your legacy, multi-businesses, and
definitely
branding is such a big deal now. Anything
listen
now.
yeah listen it's listen, the greatest brand ever, man, is the Bible, Christianity, great branding ever. And you can literally break it down, and everything's branding, man. Once you, even yourself, even me, like, last year I'm like, man, I'm gonna change my look. Work on that, and you don't think about it, like, I'm even get a new hairstyle. That's part of branding, and it's like, and you have to understand, people don't take time to get to know people anymore. They either just scroll through their social media and build up an idea about who they are.
Right.
I'm sure people thought one way about me.
Yeah. And technically your social media is your brand.
Yeah.
A lot of people know it and they're strategic about it. And a lot of people don't realize it and they're just posting emotionally or whatever the case is.
Listen.
Yeah.
And it hurts my heart to see people do that. Yeah. And last year was a very high emotional posting year. And when I say it took everything in my power not to post sometimes I would just type stuff in Microsoft Word just so I wouldn't post nothing crazy. Yeah. Because people were saying some crazy. And the hard part too is watching a lot of Miller-Hershey people say crazy stuff. That was a heartbreaking part. I'm like, what is, I ain't gonna say the name of the group. I was in there for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I'm out of here. On that note, I'm out of here.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I'm always so like cautious of that, especially like as a mom, business owner, what I post, because I have like my business pages and then I have like my personal page where, my followers are other moms, most of them are Milts, and then, my business people, but whatever people see on your social, that is exactly how they are going to think of you. It could be something you just thought was funny. And somebody will be like, oh, that's how she is. And it's like, I just kind of thought it was funny, but yeah.
I don't even post funny stuff anymore. I used to post a whole bunch of jokes and laugh. I don't say nothing. Yeah. One thing I've learned too, that this new me with this no thing, the power of blocking people. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. I always tell people, you talk crazy to me. Yeah. Block.
Exactly. Yep. I'm constantly like muting things.
Oh like, yeah, that's beautiful too. Muting. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's listen.
Yeah, because the feed is also, I'm not a big time scroller, but I do have to scroll and then engage in order to get, more people. I have to comment on other people's things to maintain the relationship. But if I don't like what I see you're posting, and if it doesn't like feed my brain, mute, like less of this. I want my feed to be something that at least doesn't dumb my brain down when I do scroll,
But I learned a lot about people last year from Miller-Hershey. Most I ever learned about them. Maybe too much, but a lot of them I don't even judge them about it because I knew that about some of them when I was at Miller-Hershey. It was kind of refreshing to see them actually talk the way they talk. I'm like, listen, it's because you're from a place. Don't mean like, think about it. I've spent more time outside of Miller-Hershey than I've spent in Miller-Hershey now by this point. I graduated, 17 years ago?
Right, that's true, yeah.
So the world takes people over, man. It unfortunately, it consumes a lot of us. And, it's sad, but it's also good that we know who's who.
Right, exactly.
It's just one of those things where it's the real world, man.
Yeah, exactly. And you want to be able to know, the real person instead of like this facade that they put on this entire time. So you can decide, okay, yeah, I do want you in my circle, or I don't want you in my circle.
All I gotta say is homecoming is gonna be very, very interesting next year.
Yeah. Isn't that so funny? I know our 20 years coming up. Next year, I think. Yeah. Because I graduated 2002. So 2022 would be our 2022 year. Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Does it feel like it's for you?
No. Time has gone by so fast. I don't even feel like it's been, I don't feel like it's been 20 years. And I don't know if it's different for like people who are non-Milts because of like that connection or that. A lot of times too, I'm always very careful of rebuilding relationships with Milts, because some Milts, and it's not bad or anything, but some Milts are still stuck in the same mindset, or they still see you or see themselves the way they did back then, and it's not. Like, we're whole new people.
Listen,
grown. Yeah. Like, it's nice to get a connection, but we're totally two different people now. We have to relearn each other, you know?
I tell people, if you think I'm the same exact person, you're missing out on a whole new great guy.
Yeah.
Because the lessons I've learned, how much I've grown, mistakes I've made, it's kind of like they keep you in a time warp. Like, they keep you where the last time they saw you or how they remembered you. But people grow and change for the better or the worse.
Yeah.
And the worst one is not growing at all.
Right.
You know, so it's like you stagnant, you know? It's that's my issue too with them. I ain't gonna lie. That's probably my biggest, or like the entitlement thing. Just because we're cool doesn't mean like I'm gonna like whatever. You know,
Exactly.
You know, no diss to nobody, but sometimes it's like, man, you know, I got a family.
Yeah.
And that comes first. And
Exactly.
if you don't, if it don't fit onto what I'm doing, I really can't entertain it. You know, so
exactly.
You know, but
that, you know, that comes with the growth that some people have had, and then the lack of growth that some people have had. There's still like that living in the past mindset.
Yes.
Which a lot of times I think a lot of Milts still do.
Yeah.
And then that I've heard that many times, like that entitlement of the relationship. Like, we knew each other, we were friends, or we're Milts, or whatever the case is, so they think there's still an obligation there, and there's zero. And that's one thing I think where I've learned a lot of my setting boundaries is with Milts. Because those are the closest friends I've ever had. And now, you know, as an adult, going back into those friendships, it's about, you know, oh, this person is probably not the same mindset as me, you know, boundary. We can still be friends, but there's a little bit more boundary around our friendships and how we hang out, or when we hang out, or if you come to my house, or if I'm just going to go meet you for drinks. You know, you got to learn that.
Listen,
especially with Milts.
There's probably people tell you, Victor, standoffish. I'm like, no, I'm just
boundaries.
boundaries.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's for everybody, not even just Mills. I'm like, I just have certain way I live my life and where I carry myself and where I want to be. Like, I'm not stuck in the past, you know. You know, I'm looking at my best years are in front of me, and I want to get there in one piece. So, you know, when I see you, you know, and when if you want to link up or whatever, that's fine. But it's like, if I say no, don't think it's about you. It's about me and what I need to do. I'm not thinking about it may sound crazy, but if I say no, it's not me trying to hurt your feelings. It's just saying I can't or I don't want to.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's okay.
That's right.
Okay. You know?
In fact, you know, being able to set boundaries between friends and being able to understand each other in that way will only enhance the relationship when people are ready for that. You know, if they're not ready, it's usually that's when they take offense, because they're just not mentally grown in that area. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, and my thing is, you know, the growth part, like we all grow different. You know, I understand. And I laugh because people eventually get to the point where they grow and they always hit me up, hey man, I see what you was talking about now. And I'm like, yeah, man, just chill. Just, you know, I'm not always as positive of a person. Sometimes I'm in angry mode, you know, but I try to be pleasant to people. And I tell people, if you get the other side of me, you must have really went there. And I haven't had those moments in a long time, but I just tell people, like, be mindful, people are people, and people have a lot of other stuff going on you don't even know.
Right.
You know?
That's absolutely right. Most people are struggling and they keep it to themselves. So you really just want to be kind always, but still have your boundaries.
Yep.
Yeah. How do you think entrepreneurship has affected your family life?
Oh, in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, more time to do what I want to do. I'm the better version of me because I'm happier. Also, it's giving me an opportunity to meet more people and learn more stuff to benefit my family, like meeting, you know, the mayor of Atlanta. You know, her and me and her people were very, very cool. Meeting all kinds of people throughout the city, just meeting different people. It gives me an opportunity then to present ideas to my children and real life examples or where you can go if you really want to, and actually meet the person. Like, hey, you can really do that, really. So it's cool being able to do that now, and I think that's how entrepreneurship has helped me, is build up a more confident me, a more reflective me, and definitely a more connected version of myself.
Wow, that's really good. Reflective you is such a good word, yeah, because we should always be in a period of reflection, so we can continue to learn ourselves too.
Always.
And self-awareness and where we need to grow. And yeah, that's great. That's really good. What advice do you think you would give to your younger self?
Better yourself.
What, bettering yourself?
Bet on yourself.
Bet on yourself. Oh, that's
bet on yourself. Always bet on yourself.
Say that, yeah. That's awesome.
That's always my response to that question.
That's so good.
Always bet on yourself. And so many times, one thing, I don't like blaming anybody, even if it's their fault. Relationships, anything, I'd be like, yeah, they did that, but what did I do?
So good.
So it's like, how it pertains to betting on yourself is like being self-aware. So in translation, or in business, if you are waiting for somebody to do something for you or take care of something for you, it's probably not a good idea. I think you need to say, hey man, if you're knowledgeable, of course, and know what you're doing, bet on yourself. You do it. You do it. You do it. If you really don't understand some research, you do it. Or like if you're in doubt, or you're waiting for somebody to help you and they're taking their good old time, you do it. That's how I even got into photography and stuff, because I had a horrible photographer. He wouldn't send me my picture. He took a horrible picture, took his time with him. I said, man, I already know how to do video. Let me just learn how to shoot. Better know myself, took it over. I was able to make the most money I made independently that year. I took time to learn Photoshop, all that stuff myself. Because it may have been out of anger, but I bet it on myself.
Yeah.
I bet it on myself. So in times of doubt, when people are counting you out and people are questioning you, find it in you, anything you need to drive you to bet on yourself. Take care of yourself, because even if you fail, you learn something.
Yeah.
And if you win, you earn something. Respect from people, you get more confident. So either way, you win. So bet on yourself. That's what I would tell my younger self.
That's really good. I love that. Yeah. And that helps to build your confidence too. Mm-hmm. As you continue to bet on yourself and you meet those goals and you keep doing it, it's just a confidence builder.
Definitely.
That's really good. Yeah. So what advice would you give to a person starting their entrepreneurial journey? 2 pieces of advice.
First thing is, ask yourself why. Why? And also, what are you willing to give up?
Wow.
You're gonna lose out on friends, lose out on families, members. You're gonna lose out on relationships. And it affected me at first, because I was working so much, learning stuff. I put on all this damn weight. I was like, yo, what happened? I'm like, yo, what? And I work editing, so I'm sitting down all day editing, not eating crap, not realizing what's going on. Then you go to put your shirt on your pants. You're like, yo, what happened to me? Man. So what are you willing to sacrifice, man? And I'm not saying you go out here, and put on a whole bunch of weight, but stuff will change and people will fall off because you're not dedicating your time to partying or whatever. I just say be willing to sacrifice. If you're not, don't do it.
Yeah.
See, I'm simple. If you're not willing to sacrifice, don't do it.
Right.
Because you're gonna sacrifice something. I mean, you may not be able to go out for brunch on Sunday with bottomless mimosas and crab legs and all the fun stuff. You're like, hey man, I'm building my craft, or I'm resting.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to sacrifice something. And if you're not going to, don't waste your time. Don't waste nobody's time. Don't waste your time. Don't even waste your watch's time. Don't waste no time.
Yeah.
Sacrifice is the main part.
Yeah. That is exactly what you're going to experience as a beginner entrepreneur. And I'd say for a while into entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Sacrifice. And
my whole 20s.
Family sacrifice. Yeah.
My whole 20s.
Sacrifice. Yes. Wow.
Still my whole 20s, man.
I know. And that's such a time in your life where you want to be able to do whatever you want and not have to sacrifice. But then now, because of that sacrifice in your 20s, now you have your 40s and your 50s to be living life the way on your own terms. Yeah.
Listen, and you can afford stuff too when you're older. Because my thing, a lot of my friends were getting all these high profile jobs and they were doing really, really well, getting married, and I'm like, man, that's how I was doing that whole look around thing. Remember I was telling you, looking at everybody else, man, why ain't I? I'm like, hold up. I'm like, these fools not even happy.
Right. Yeah.
And then I was like, just.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I'm telling you, the world is opening up. You know, like I said, I don't get as like frustrated as much anymore. I just learned to focus, and focusing is key, and sacrifice, man. You know, and if I gotta miss out on a contract because I feel it's too much or too much time away from my family, I won't even do it.
Yeah. Good for you.
I mean? So.
And that shows like your growth from the very beginning where you got screwed on contracts and it's all about the money and things like that. Over the years now, you've seen like this growth where you're like, no, if this doesn't benefit this, then it's a whole package deal. It all has to flow in order to be, you know, something that I'm going to take on. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because it's about it's not just the pursuit of money and success anymore that, you know, we were trained to believe that, go to college, get a job. Yeah. As if all of that was going to fulfill you. And then, like you said, you got all these people making money and they're unhappy people.
Miserable. I'm talking about, I know people who are millionaires. I know professional athletes. I know people who got some, I'm sure you do too. And they come around like, why you always, they always ask me, why are you so happy all the time? Like, cause I'm free. Cause I'm free, man. You know, I'm free. I'm not worried about certain things that some people are worried about. You know, I don't have to impress you. If you don't like me, that's your problem. Cause I know I led with a positive attitude towards you. And if you don't like me, that's on you. But growing into understanding that, because you don't like me, I'm like, why? What did I do? Why don't you like me? And you're like, nah, I don't like you. I don't like you anyway. So whatever.
Yeah.
So
when you know what you're putting out, you don't really need to have that like second thought of, you know, am I doing right or am I something wrong with me? If you know what you're putting out is good, positive, you know, progressive things, then that's all you really have to focus on. Yeah.
100%.
That's awesome. You know, talking about legacy, it's my last question for you, and I'll let you go. What is your overall vision for your legacy and your future generations?
Of course, financial freedom. That's a big one, but mostly mental freedom. That's good. Feeling a way where they don't feel forced to do anything, but finding a passion and understanding that you don't have to go the traditional route, but you have to respect tradition.
Yeah.
When I say that, I mean like, you know, you may not be a doctor, but respect the people who are doctors. Right. You know, because they went to a lot of crap school, med school, that stuff, and they earned. So find something, a craft or a background or something that you can really focus on and deliver on it, be an expert on, and eventually help other people. You know, don't just get something and sit on it and just feel like you're better than people.
Right.
You know, the entitlement thing I was talking about earlier. But the legacy I want to leave behind is one of honesty, truth, focus, and respect. And if we're doing all those things, I've done my job, man. Yeah. You know, I've done my job. If my kids and their kids and their kids and their kids all grow up to be great, outstanding people with good hearts, I've done my part.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's so crucial when it comes to character and the type of qualities and values and principles you pass down. Yes, that is so 100%. Good. Yeah. This was such a great conversation, Victor. I really appreciate you for being on this show. I learned so much from you. I love what you're doing. I love your mindset, your positivity, your energy. You're such a great family man, which is awesome. I'm excited to see all the growth, you know, you're going to continue to have and all the value you're going to keep giving to people. Because I see, you know, giving value and helping people is a big, big thing for you. So I really like that. I like that.
You too, though. You know, you like what you're doing too. Like I said, you came with a platform, positivity, spreading love, but also very informative and inspiring. And I hope people take from this. You can see the growth in the both of us. I hope everybody understands, like, it's okay to reach out. It's okay to help others. It's okay to share information. It's okay. And it's okay to admit when you need help or you're falling short. You know, because in this journey called life, we all need that extra push.
That's right. Exactly. So yeah, that my main hope is that this inspires and motivates people because they see each other. We're all the same. We're all the same. We all have the same potential. You know, we all have the same type of cards in life. There's always going to be something, but it's just all about getting around the right people, the right associations, the like-mind mindset. And, you know, it's just all about having a vision. That's probably most important is just constantly keeping track of your vision of where you want to go, where you want to be. That's so crucial. And talking about it with other people just keeps bringing it more to life, you know?
Yes, definitely, man. You gotta do this again. Let me know.
I would love
have
that.
a round table, something, whatever y'all want to do again.
All my ideas are brewing. Yeah, maybe we could brew some more together. That would be awesome.
100%.
Yeah. So before I let you go, I want you to shout out any platforms, any websites, anything you want people to know about your business, about you, so they can follow you, subscribe to you. Definitely go ahead and do that before I let you go.
I'm only gonna give one. I mean, it's not hard to find me. Website kind of private right now, but you can reach me on Facebook, obviously, if you know my name, Victor E. Dougba Jr. You can find me on Instagram at Victor_Emerson. And I'm also on Twitter talking crap at Victor_Emerson. So you can find me on there.
Okay, I gotta follow you on Twitter. I gotta do better on Twitter for sure.
Twitter's Twitter, man. Twitter is not what it used to be, man. I've contemplated breaking up with Twitter mad times, but I've been on there for like 12 years. So it's like, it's a heartbreak.
Yeah, I've never even gotten into it. I'm still.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, I'm learning all the new platform. It's hard to keep track with all the like LinkedIn is something that I definitely
LinkedIn
get more time to. But there's so many now. It's like tough to. I have
you be on TikTok?
Rarely. I think I've posted like 10 videos ever, but it's so fast paced. Like it's just so quick. Even when I watch the videos, I'm like, golly. I like to watch like recipes, but even then I'm like, you're moving too fast. Like
moving too fast.
Yeah. I like more like YouTube,
Me too.
Stuff like that. Yeah. Reels are I'm not a big like content receiver. Like I have to like always put a limit on that because it's so much information.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And the S5 Zone just kind of, I have my car stuff I listen to on YouTube, then I have to stuff I actually watch. Yeah. And then I have music I listen to in there. So it's a lot of different things.
Yeah, it is. There's content all over now. It's like that's all that we're doing now is like being drowned by content all around.
Period. All day. So much, man, listen, way too much content.
Exactly. Filtering is crucial. That's also a boundary.
Listen, all this stuff, the stuff you weren't taught, man. Boundaries, filters. These are words people need to develop and use, and also be careful with too. Like some people overuse boundary, because they don't want to be accountable for nothing. That's enough. So it's different stuff, but just use it in a positive way, you know.
Right. Well, this was so great. Thank you again so much, and we'll definitely stay in touch and stay communicative. I would love that.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.